Well, welcome to Inside the Deal. I'm Trent Ziegler, your host, and this is where we're going to break down how real operators are actually building, scaling, and closing deals in real estate today. Today, I'm joined by Pete Russell, who is the founder at Velocity Advantage Capital. Appreciate you being here, Pete. Um,
Thanks, Adam.
let's dive right in. So for the viewers, what does someone in transactional funding for double closings entail at a high level?
Sure. So it's funding for same day double closings, and it is targeted for wholesalers across the country. A wholesaler is kind of like a middleman. They go out and find off market properties, they get them deeply discounted, and then they are the go between the current owner and then the end buyer. Like they go lock up these properties, spend a lot of money, time, energy, effort every month marketing to the sellers, right? Like they can direct mail, they can cold call. A lot of times they'll uh, do Google ads, Facebook ads, things like that. So they're looking for these properties where they're not going to buy them and fix them up or hold on to them as a rental. They're going to find them and then they're going to go to their pool of buyers that are going to be the end investor. And they say, hey, I have this great property. It's a great deal. There's a lot of value and potential in it. Needs some work. Typically, they're fixer uppers. Um, and that investor, that wholesaler, will get it under contract, let's just say for $100,000. But then their end buyer, the investor that they're going to sell it to, will buy it off them for 130. They're going to fix it up and then put it on the market and maybe sell it for 250. Right. So wholesalers are a middleman for anyone that's not particularly familiar with the space. And wholesaling on itself is kind of under a microscope now. There's probably about 15 states that have regulation, if not more, in place, and plenty more that it looks like within the next year or two there will be some sort of regulation. It's kind of been a wild west for a little while of who can do it, what best practices are, what is going too far with marketing to these sellers and bothering them, that sort of thing. And then there's been some bad apples that have just like taken things to another level and gotten lots of complaints. So with that, there's a lot of regulation coming down the pipeline where maybe you can't do an assignment anymore. Typically, that wholesaler would get the property under contract for 100, sell it to their end buyer for that 130, 140 price. And what they would do is they would assign it over to them. So on the closing statement, they would get the spread, the fee between the 100 and 130 or 140. So they make a $30,000-$40,000 profit. Sometimes it's a $10,000 profit. Sometimes they're really big fees. You find a really good deal and make 60, 70, $100,000. So the old school kind of way of doing it was doing it, getting an assignment fee when you match those two parties together. Um, and now that that's coming under stricter and stricter regulation, what people have to do is they have to be able, they can still go out and find the property. They still have their buyers. But what they have to do to play by the rules is they actually have to purchase it and then turn around and sell it to their end buyer. So there's like an added step. You actually have to be able to perform, be the buyer, have the capital to buy it. In this case, again, let's say you're buying it for 100 and you're turning around and selling it to your end buyer for 140. And just a lot of wholesalers don't have that capital, right? Like sitting around. If it's a $50,000 deal, $100,000 deal, some markets they're three, four, five, $600,000 that you have to buy it. So that's where I step in as a transactional funder, where I say, hey, you found the deal, you found the buyer, you're going to get it to closing. I can step in and fund it for you, so you can buy it, turn around and sell it, and then make your profit. It all happens on the same day. It's the same day double close. So I provide that capital for wholesalers nationwide. And I've been doing that for about 2 years now, and it's been going well. We funded over 300 of those in the last 24 months, and it's just
Nice.
continuing to grow because of the change in the market with those regulations.
Nice. So, quick backstory. How did you get into this?
I was and still am a wholesaler. Like I found out about wholesaling over 10 years ago now. And I just took it and kind of ran with it. I thought it was a great opportunity because it's a low barrier of entry. It's a lot of work. And you have to be good with people. You have to be able to have, navigate tough conversations
Mhm.
with people and their families and everything. It's involving a property and it's, high price points. It's not like buying couches on Craigslist and turning around and selling them. This is
Yeah.
somebody's property and usually been in their family for a while, or can be a stressful situation for them. So I found out about it and I just like immediately just took it and ran with it. I started putting out signs, started knocking on doors, started paying for some marketing to get in front of people because I found out after a while it's a numbers game, right? You just have to get 100 no's before you get a yes from somebody that's like, yeah, I actually do need help. I have this property. I don't know what to do with it. I live in the other side of the country. I've had it, willed to me 7 years ago. It's falling apart. There's squatters in there. Can you work with me? I'll sell it to you at a discount because I want to be done with it.
Yeah.
Right. So then I we got really good at that and then built up those buyers over time. Of there's tons of guys out there that are looking for their next project. Right. As on the investor side, on the flipper side, the the issue is always like more deals, right? Like they want more deals, more opportunities to put their crews to work, to put their money to work, that sort of thing.
Right.
So I started that 10 years ago and just learned like failing forward, getting some coaches, going to events, people in my own network, and just figuring it out as I went. So I've been doing that for 10 years. I'm based in Charlotte, North Carolina. I used to do it in 6 different markets. I had a big team. We did a lot of deals virtually for a while. And then a couple of years ago, I shrunk it back down to a smaller team and I just do it here locally. And I have the transactional funding business now too. So I stay busy between the two.
Nice. Very awesome. Well, talking about the industry at large, what major shifts are you seeing in your industry right now, if any?
Yeah, I think the biggest one, like I said, is it's really under a microscope. For the first 6 or 7 years that I did it, just there was no, it was just everybody was that could get into it and put the time into it, could go out there and do it.
Yeah.
But now it's caught on with realtors, it's caught on with other groups where they're like, hey, there's these people out there doing wholesaling. What is this? What's going on? And then at the same time, like we need to put some guidelines around it, right? Like we need to put some rules and regulations, which isn't terrible. Like I'm not against it, because there are bad apples, and I think if you have some black and white rules of like what's acceptable, what you can and can't do, it helps everybody involved. And then there's the consumer protection side. I think some people are getting just tons of texts, tons of calls a day, and it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
So
Bad
I can
apple.
understand the frustration with that.
Yeah. Elaborate on a bad apple. What is it that a bad apple does?
I mean, a bad apple will overpromise, underdeliver, right? Like as that wholesaler, again, you are a middleman. You're not the one actually buying the property. You're bringing other people to the table, or in double closing, you are buying it, but you're turning around and selling it to someone else. So just being transparent about your process, going to them and saying, "Hey, you looks like you need help with this property. You're not going to fix it up and put money into it and sell it. Let me step in and with my network." And what I can do is I can bring somebody to the table to either partner with me on it, or I bring it to the table. They pay me a fee, and we'll get this deal worked out. A bad apple is just going to tell you a million different things to that seller, lock the property up too high, um, bother someone when they say no, just like over persistent, and just not doing things the right way, right? Like not treating people the way that you would want to be treated, or having a family member treated that's going through a situation like that.
Yeah.
So those are some of the bad apples. That and just marketing, just constantly text blasting people, constantly calling people, just bugging people to no end. I think that's what's brought like a cloud over wholesaling, and that's why these regulations are coming into place.
Okay. Gotcha. Nice. Well, so as more people get into the space, I don't know if it's necessarily crowded yet. I guess that would be, I don't know what your opinions are there, but how does that impact your business? Are you getting less business?
No, I mean it's changed a lot in 10 years. I think we kind of saw an arc, like the apex probably 3 years ago is just like during COVID, once rates dropped and everybody was just buying real estate and trying to do flips, trying to do everything because capital was a lot cheaper. Things from late 2020 to 2023, it was just wild. Like anybody and everybody was in real estate and doing flips and doing wholesaling and everything like that. So you saw the marketplace was flooded with people. And I think since the rates have gone back up, instability in the market, and then with regulation, it's definitely come down a lot. So I think we're kind of on our way down to leveling out to like some stability, hopefully.
Okay.
And like I said, I welcome the regulation if it's not overbearing and over the top, because there are a lot of homeowners out there that need wholesalers and investors to help them out with their properties. They don't know what to do. They're not going to put money into it. They're not going to put it on the market. They can't go the traditional route. So there is a place for that wholesaler and investor. There's a lot of off market distressed properties out there. If not, they're just going to go into foreclosure or just sit there, be an eyesore in the neighborhood, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, so whenever a wholesaler has a property and gets a deal and sells it to someone and they fix it up and make a nice home for a rental or for a property that they can put back on the market, like that's multiple jobs, that you're producing and helping out with the economy. So it is a positive thing. Like I said, I just think with some regulation and guidelines, I think it's going to be helpful, and I think it will weed out the people that were the bad apples, right? And then leave it to people that are going to handle it the right way professionally.
Yeah. You keep coming back to the individual, to the family, and just having a personal touch. You alluded to that at the beginning, which that's just awesome because I think that in in real estate, it's money, 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 money. How can I get money? Really, anywhere. How can I get money? And I think that the more that obviously the more you focus on money, the less you're focusing on people. And at the end of the day, everything is about the people, right? So I think that's
Right.
awesome that you continue to come back to that. That said, I can only assume that that's working well for you right now. But what else is working well for you and your business right now? What are you doing right?
Staying on the personal side of it is I still go out on appointments, right? When we have a whole marketing team, and then when leads come in and people raise their hand and say, "Hey, I'm interested. I'd like to have a conversation." My big thing is, if they get through a few filter steps of like, "Hey, let me come out to the property and see it," right? Like if you live here and you're active, or I can meet someone and walk it and see it, like that personal touch, because a lot of other investors and wholesalers will try to lock stuff up over the phone, and they're just trying to do volume, volume, volume. And I think the seller, the client in this case, like they can tell that. I can't tell you how many deals I've walked in and met somebody and spent 10, 15, 20 minutes, and I walk out with a contract, and
Mhm.
they've got a stack of like postcards, and they're like, "Oh, these are their phones blowing up while I'm walking," and they're like, "This is the fifth call today, but these guys live in another state, and they want me to sign something, and I've never met them before." Like, people like to do business with people that they can see, meet, get a feel for, right? So I
Right.
think that serves you very well, and that's why a few years ago I was like, I'm gonna just do this in my own backyard, where if
Mhm.
I need to, and about 80% of the time I do, I'll go walk a property and see it in person myself, or someone on my team will, because that serves really, really well, and it's just a connection. It builds trust, and I think that really helps on the real estate, on the wholesaling side of it.
Yeah. Nice. Well, where are you? What's been frustrating? Where are you struggling? Where are you finding your pain points to be on, day to day, month to month?
It's like the market's like I said, I feel like it's leveling out right now, but for the last probably 12 months, it's really slowed down in a sense. Even though I'm in Charlotte, I'm in a great market for real estate. There's a lot of growth here. Like over the last 20 years, we're in the top five for people moving here and like affordability and all that kind of stuff, which is cool to be a part of. But everybody is just not sure of like what the next move is, what the next step is. Are tariffs going to make things increase? Or what's the market going to do? So there's still movement, and people are still doing deals. I'm still able to find deals and sell them to builders and flippers, but it's not like it used to be, where it was just like go, go, go. Right. Like now people have to get like a really good deal, a killer deal. There's got to be a ton of margin on it. It's got to be a no brainer. But those aren't always easy to come by. And then the sellers still want prices that they could get, 2 or 3 years ago, when people were overpaying because
Mhm.
money was cheap, right? So that it's kind of in that area where it's starting to level out a little bit now. But it's been pretty tough for the last 12, probably going on 18 months. I've seen a change probably in the last 2 months, where it's leveling out a little bit. but just expectations where people want to get as much as possible, prices that are a little unrealistic that maybe were realistic a few years ago as far as the seller goes. They're like, oh, my neighbor sold their house and they tore it down for $600,000. And you're like, yeah, you probably should have done that in 2023 when they could pay that much for it. And they don't, it's a hard conversation to have. They don't want to hear
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
But then again, on that other side of it, the builder that you're selling to or the flipper, their cost of goods and everything is up, right? And then they can't get money. Everybody's using other people's money. They can't get money at rates that they used to before. So their margins have to be bigger. They have to have more of an upside. So it's difficult, but I will say, really, no matter what the market looks like for wholesaling and investing on that side of it, there are always people out there that need to sell their property at a discount because they don't want to deal with the headache, right? Again, for doing this for 10 years, there's some markets that are crazy and good. There's some markets that are slower, but there's always a space and there's always people out there that are like, I need some help. I don't know what to do with this. I have conversations like this every single month with people where they're like, we've been on the fence about this for years, or somebody else tried to help us and it fell through and we didn't think anybody could help us. But I'm glad we connected. I'm glad we got this done. Like they're out there. They're always out there. There's always cycles of people going through difficult times, or somebody gets a property left to them in a will or something like that. Like it's all over the country. And it's a constant. So as long as you stick with it and you stay in front of, keep marketing, keep reaching out to people, there's a need for a wholesaler in the market.
Yeah. Nice. So that said, as we're coming out of a season of struggle, what are your goals for your company here in the next 6 to 12 months?
I would say to stay lean and mean. I used to have the big team with like 10, 12 people in office, which was big for me. I know some people are like, oh, that's not that much, but had a team, had an office space, had a lot of overhead and everything like that. In the last 2 years, not having that, having a much smaller team, and not the crazy overhead, and working mostly from like home or coffee shops or co-working spots to have the flexibility and it's always easier, I feel like, to add someone when you're busy enough to bring them on rather than like trying to force and cause more things to happen because you have to feed a larger team.
Mhm.
So I would say as things grow and progress, just be lean and mean. Try to take advantage of as much tech and everything out there, and obviously AI is a huge topic, is possible. Like that can help with a lot of automations, a lot of things in systems. Now you can build out a lot of things. You can build out a CRM now that you used to have to get somebody and hire them in 3 months worth of work and $20,000, whatever, right? With automations and all that, you can do that now over a weekend if you know what you're doing, with something like Claude and things like that. So I think integrating AI, keep staying lean and mean, and just trying to be as efficient as possible. Like it's really easy to spend $30,000-$40,000 a month in marketing and just throw numbers at it and hope that it works. But
Yeah.
if you're not tracking, if you're not using KPIs, if you don't really know what's going on, your cost per lead, cost per deal, all that kind of stuff really dialed in, um, that's where you start making some real money, and you're not just hoping that things will work out because you're spending more money. So
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, that said, great segue into the next section, AI and where it fits into your space. You want to be lean and mean, that's your goal. So obviously it makes sense to leverage all of these tools at their fullest capacity. So I guess if you don't mind me asking, like, where are you currently leveraging AI at? And what if it's not the most optimal place to leverage it, what would be the absolute most optimal place to leverage AI at right now in your space?
yeah, I would say within systems and processes, again, we're heavy in our a CRM that we use, just to track everything, and set up automations, and then everything for reports. To data is a huge thing for us. So to see what data is working, to track, what lists that we're pulling that are working in front of people, um, and then is simple things as like dashboards, um, follow up, just really tracking and measuring, which obviously has been around since before AI and chat and Claude and all that good stuff. But now you can just take it to another level and use it. And I'm not the pro. Like I'm a trying to adapt and figure it out as I go. My fiance is really, really good at she's like heavy into Claude and co-work and everything like that. So we'll go to the coffee shop early in the morning on like the weekend and just dig in and be like, hey, what could we do? What could we fine tune? What could really help? And how can we do it without having to hire someone on Fiverr? Well, now you can throw it into Claude and build it out, and it knows your business inside out and can give you suggestions and things like that. So it's
Yeah.
really taking our systems and processes that we have now, and instead of hiring someone or getting someone for like a project, we can dive in and do it and figure it out ourselves within using something like Claude.
Okay. Nice. Well, closing out here, what advice would you give to somebody trying to get into wholesaling?
It's great. It's life changing. It's just everything takes more time than you think it's going to, right?
Mhm.
Um, some people get lucky and within 3 or 4 months they get their first deal and make 20, $30,000, which is amazing. For me, it took about 6 months, 6.5 months, and a couple of deals that fell through, which was tough, but I'm glad I didn't give up. I mean, when you think that you're going to make $25,000 early on and the deal falls apart, you can either learn from it and continue and keep going, or you can quit. And I'm glad I didn't quit. But I would just say, just know that you're going to hear 100 or 1,000 or 2,000 no's before you get a yes, right? But then once you do get that yes, you get a deal under contract, you find a buyer, you get it to closing, and you make more than you make in 3 or 4 months or half a year's worth of work. Or if you get really lucky and get a massive deal, you can make as much as you make at a regular 9 to 5 in one deal. It's out there, it's available. It just takes time, energy, effort, and there's a lot of no's that are involved before you get a yes. So just know that going into it. And if you know that, it's easier said than done. But if you know that in the back of your mind while you're getting all those no's, it's just like another no gets me closer to a yes. You'll be much better served than being like, hey, I should put in a little bit of time, and in 2 weeks I should have a $30,000 check. Like, doesn't work that way. So
Mhm. Yeah. Nice. Um, so where can people find you at? If they want to reach you, Pete.
yeah, they can find me. I'm getting better at socials and whatnot. I'm on Instagram, actually on TikTok too. You can just look me up by my name and you'll be able to find me there. All my stuff's on like double closings and transactional funding. I focus mostly on that. Sometimes I'll talk about wholesaling and whatnot. Facebook as well. And then my website, if there's anyone out there that is watching and is in wholesaling and needs transactional funding, my website is velocityadvantagecapital.com. That's my business name for the transactional funding. So velocityadvantagecapital.com. But yeah, look me up on socials, reach out, DM me. And I have people hit me up all the time with questions about the process or what my fees are, anything like that. And I'm pretty good about getting back to people really quickly, always on my phone. So
Awesome. 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 Well, thanks for coming on today and giving us some insight into double closings and wholesales and just your operations in general. And yeah, I'll just close. Knowledge is wealth. Let's spread the wealth. Thanks for the knowledge. We appreciate it, Pete.
appreciate it. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed it.